Welcome to Wednesday Gentle Yoga. Leo Bray here on behalf of Kristen Olson's Urban Yoga Center. Please visit us online at urbanyoga.org or at Kristen Olson's Urban Yoga Center on Facebook to stop by the tip jar and check out our class schedule. We'll start out sitting today. I'm going to sit up on my blocks. I like to sit on 2 blocks together like that. A lot of folks sit on 1 block, and I used to be one of them. And then a teacher asked me to try this, and in my head I thought that's not going to make any difference, and I was wrong. It did, and I never sit on one now. So sit on the edge of the blocks. Sitting on the edge of the blocks lets my pelvis tilt forward. This lets the front of my hips open up, and also the pelvic tilt lets the lower part of the spine sort of drop down, lengthen downward. So sit in whatever way is comfortable for you. You don't have to sit up on anything. It's just how I'm liking to sit today. However you're sitting, feel your contact with the floor. Think about the length of your spine so you sit up tall without being stiff or rigid. And if you want, you can close your eyes. Do what you like with your hands. Rest them where they're comfortable. Different things we might do with the hands. Palms down can add a sensation of grounding, or hands on the ground can add a sensation of grounding. Palms up can enhance receptivity, indicate openness. And if you want, you can close your eyes, just noticing your breath, letting it get deeper and slower to get us started. Tapping into and becoming aware of feedback loops that are always there. It's not like we're creating them or setting them up. They're always there. What the body's doing affects the breath, and what the breath's doing affects the mind. Body, mind, breath, all linked together. So coming to stillness facilitates deeper, slower breathing. Deeper, slower breathing helps us relax, which helps us be still. And it all just flows from one to the other to the other. Taking in the way that your breathing moves your body around, the way your breathing feels as it's getting deeper and slower, the way your contact with the ground and maybe with any props you're on feels. Noticing how everything feels, whatever sensations might be present for you. Maybe there's air moving across your skin. Maybe there are sounds in the room or outside the room. Even with your eyes closed, there's visual input, the light filtering through your eyelids. Whatever sense you may detect. I recently met another teacher who refers to the circumstances of your practice. She says something like, become aware of the circumstances of your practice. And I like that. It's a big umbrella to cover the internal and the external. And I was taught that whatever comes up, whether it's within or without, whatever comes up during practice can just be seen as something else to weave into the practice. So a sudden sound outside the room doesn't have to be a distraction. It's just part of my practice. I chuckle to myself a little as I say this. In teaching the 8:15 class today, at one point during the practice, my roommate's puppy started barking explosively. And I know it came through to the microphone, even though I've got a closed door and a gate to keep her away from that door. Sound travels. So Charlie's barking became part of our practice. If in your noticing you detect anything in your body that doesn't feel so good right now, any soreness or any stiffness, that too is just something that's going to be part of the practice, something to keep in mind so that you can skip or modify any part of the practice to accommodate what's going on in your body. You can always skip or modify any part of the practice. Maybe it's not even to accommodate stiffness or soreness. Maybe it's for some other reason. Find the practice that's best for you. And whenever your attention does wander, as it always will, gently come back to noticing your body, back to observing your breath, back to your practice from wherever your mind started off to in that moment. If in addition to these shared intentions, you want to set a specific personal intention for your practice, do so now. And let's take 3 deep cleansing breaths in through the nose and out through the mouth with a sighing sound. Let your eyes open if they're closed. Bring your hands out to the sides, rest your fingertips on the floor. Inhale, reach your left arm up alongside your ear. Exhale, reach across to the right. Try not to lift your left sitting bone away from the ground or away from the blocks, whatever you're sitting on. Try to stay anchored in your seat, both sides. With an inhale, come upright. As you exhale, float your left hand behind you, bring your right hand across, just fingertips on the floor. Inhale, lengthen up, maybe press into those fingertips. Exhale, invite your body to twist some more, working your way up from the waist. With each exhale, seeing if there's a little further to go. Let yourself unwind, come back through center. Inhale, reach your right arm up alongside your ear. As you exhale, reach across to your left. Lean into the right hand. The left hand. Oops, there we go. Get the left-right mistake out of the way early. Typically, at least one per practice. On an inhale, come upright. As you exhale, come into the other twist. Inhale, lengthen. Exhale, twist. Let yourself unwind, come back to center. Let your chin come towards your chest. Start some nice slow circles with your head. Easing tension out of the neck. If you find any spots in your neck that feel particularly tight, you might pause there and rock back and forth. Change direction with your circles. And when you finish the next circle, look forward. Rest your hands on your legs. Inhale, draw your heart forward, let your head tip back. Exhale, draw your heart back, let your head tip forward. And just follow the pace of your breath. And after the next exhale, sit up and take your time to make your way up onto your hands and knees. Open your hands up all the way. Feel your whole palm on the floor. Shoulders over the wrists, hips over the knees. Reach your left foot back, press into the ball of your foot. Take a couple breaths. With your next inhale, reach your right arm to the side. With the next inhale, if you want, pick your left foot up and reach straight back, or keep it on the floor. That's better. If you want to go further, bend your leg, reach back. See if you can connect with the spine. Kick against your hand, raise your knee, raise your chin. Releasing the bind, bring your hand and your knee back down. Reach back and press into the ball of your right foot for a couple breaths. With an inhale, reach your left arm to the side. If you like, on the next inhale, reach back through the sole of your right foot. And if you want to go further, bend your knee, reach back, see about the bind. Release the bind if you've got it. Let your knee and your hand down. Bring your big toes to touch. Send your knees further apart if you like. Sit back to child's pose. Walk your hands forward. Let your head come down. If your head doesn't reach the floor, you could stack your hands. Make a pillow for your hands or put a yoga block or a pillow under your forehead. So your head is supported and your neck can disengage. And if you want to further disengage in the upper body, you might reach your hands back by your feet instead of reaching your arms forward. And just let your breath take over for a minute. Come back to noticing, observing contact with the floor, movement of the breath, sensation in the body. If your hands are reaching back by your feet, bring them forward again. Inhale, bring yourself forward, back up onto your hands and knees. Step your left foot up between your hands. Bring your hands to your thigh or your knee and press against your leg to lift your torso. Find steadiness here on left foot and right knee. Visual cues that can help you find a steady posture is this knee above this foot, this hip above this knee, and this leg directly behind this knee. And also just having more space between the foot and the knee can make posture stabler, like a wider base, broader foundation. Exhale, sink forward in your hips. Inhale, glide back. Whatever degree of movement feels good in your hips and in your knee. If you want to add in an arm movement, maybe one arm down as you come forward, up as you glide back and up, and maybe both arms. That other hand can always come to the leg for steadiness, or both hands if you like, and just focus on the hips. Arms can be parallel to the ground like this, or you can do cactus arms. Draw your bent arms down like that. And from the top of the movement, let's twist, reach the right hand back and left hand forward. Maybe left hand comes to your leg for steadiness if you get too wobbly. Come back through center, maybe hands at heart. And twist to the left. Right hand forward, left hand back, or right hand to the knee. Come back through center. Bring your hands down on either side of your left foot. And we switch legs. Step the foot back, plant the left knee, and step the right foot forward. Bring your hands up to your knee or your thigh and press yourself up. Find steadiness again here. Checking out your alignment, but more than looking, feeling for steadiness. Looking for the cues can help you find a posture that's generally steady, but everybody's a little different. So it's more about feeling steady. Exhale, sink forward. Inhale, glide back, and add in those arm movements if and when you want, whatever movements work for you. And from the top of the movement, twist to the left. Come back through center and twist to the right. Come back to center. Bring your hands down. And step your right knee back onto hands and knees for a moment. Curl your toes under. And walk your hands in towards your knees. So you come up, standing on the knees with the feet engaged. We're going to stretch the feet. This creates a lot of sensation in the feet. You get to regulate how much sensation that is for you. Sit back towards your heels. You regulate sensation by how far back you sit. I'm sitting on my heels because this is what feels good to me. I do this a lot. And that's what feels good. But you can always come up higher. You can also put something here between your heels and your butt, a pillow or a block. You could even make a little space between your feet and put the block on the floor. Plant your sitting bones on a block. Maybe it's even 2 blocks. Whatever degree of stretch feels okay for you and your feet. My feet like a lot. So I really curl the toes under and sit way back. Inhale, reach your arms out and up. Exhale, bring your hands to your heart. Interlace your fingers. Reach your palms out in front of you. Keeping your hands linked, raise your arms up overhead. Lower them down. Draw your hands together at your heart. Inhale up through center. Exhale out and down. We'll do that 2 more times and then we'll release our feet from the stretch. You can change the height of your seat anytime. Inhale up. Exhale, hands to heart. Interlace maybe the opposite way. Mix it up. Reach your palms forward. Reach your hands up overhead. Lower your arms. Hands to heart. Up through center. Out and down. 1 more time. Out and up. Hands to heart. Interlace. Extend forward. Extend up. Lower. Hands to heart. Up through center. Out and down. For the counter pose, tip forward onto your hands. Untuck your toes. And bang your feet on the floor. You don't have to do it that hard or that fast. That's what feels good to my feet. Step your left foot up between your hands and step your right foot up to meet it. Hang out in forward fold, swaying back and forth, bending and straightening your legs. Arms and head heavy, hanging down. Maybe your fingertips drag on the ground. Maybe your hands are hanging in the air or resting on the front of your legs, or clasping your elbows. Gently nod your head yes. And shake your head no. Inhale, lift up halfway, press your hands against the front of your legs and feel for the crown of your head moving forward away from your tailbone, your spine lengthening out parallel to the floor. Exhale, relax down. Inhale, roll up to standing, hands overhead. Exhale, bring your hands to your heart. Let your hands hang at your sides. Raise your right shoulder towards your ear and shift it back and let it down. And your left shoulder up and back and down. Inhale, reach out to the sides. Exhale, reach for your shoulder blades and hug yourself, or if you like, come to eagle arms, intertwine your arms, press your palms together. If you're an eagle, move your elbows, move your elbows and your hands forward and up, pardon me, and try throat. Should have taken a sip of water when I stood up. Inhale, open your arms again. And as you exhale, cross them the opposite way. Reach for your shoulder blades or take your eagle. Breathe into the space between your shoulder blades. Inhale to open up. Exhale to let your arms down. Inhale out and up. Interlace your fingers overhead. Flip your palms towards the ceiling. Look up at your hands. Lift up your heart. Inhaling, come upright. Exhaling, bend to the right, feeling full length through both arms. Try to keep your left heel on the floor. Inhale to come up through center. Exhale to bend to the left, aiming to keep your right heel on the floor. Inhale to come up. Exhale, let your arms come out and down. Inhale out and up. Exhale, fold forward. Inhale, come up halfway. Exhale, fold forward. Plant your hands and step back to plank. Plank can be like this, or with your knees down if a shorter plank serves you better. Hips coming down in line with your shoulders and heels, or shoulders and knees, depending on your plank. With an exhale, slowly lower all the way down. Keep your elbows in close to your body. Just see how slow you can go, but don't stop breathing. If you're going really slow and it takes a long time, take another breath. Rest your belly, rest your chin, untuck your toes. Press into your hands, inhale, lift your head and chest, maybe just a low cobra this first time. Each time, do the height of heart opener that's right for you. So these are all heart openers. Low cobra, higher cobra, upward dog. The heart's doing about the same thing. So listen your low back and do what's right each time for you. Exhale, rock back up onto hands and knees. Curl your toes under. Press into your feet, lift your knees. Press into your hands, lift your tail. Downward dog. Pedal your feet up and down for a few breaths, letting your heels drop closer to the floor. Inhale, bend your knees and look forward. Exhale, step your feet forward. Inhale, lift up halfway. Exhale, come down. Inhale, all the way up. Exhale, hands to heart. Inhale, up. Exhale, down. Inhale, halfway up. Exhale, down. Plant your hands and step back to plank. On an exhale, lower, maybe just halfway. Drop your knees if you like. Inhale, bring your heart forward. Exhale, back and up. And take 3 cleansing breaths in your downward facing dog. Let your knees down. Make your way to child's pose again. Vary it however you like. Maybe knees are wider, maybe they're closer together. Maybe there's a prop under your head or your hands under your head. Arms reaching forward or reaching back as suits you. Again, come back to observing, simply breathing. If you have your hands back by your feet, reach your hands forward again. We'll explore some variation in child's pose. Walk your hands over to the right and let your head come with your arms. Maybe even stack your left hand on top of your right. Lift your left hip a little, send it away from those hands on a diagonal. Relax in that stretch. Walk your hands back through center and over to the left. Maybe stack your right hand on top of your left. Raise your right hip, send it diagonally away from your hands. Relax through the hip. Walk your hands back to center. Inhale, come forward and up onto your hands and knees. Curl your toes under. Press into your feet, lift your knees. Press into your hands, lift your tail. Inhale, bend your knees, look forward. Exhale, step your feet forward. Inhale, come up halfway. Exhale, come down. Inhale, all the way up, hands overhead. Exhale, bring your hands to your heart. Grab a sip of my water here for the next sequence. I'm going to play a bit with tree pose and do so gently because it is the gentle class. So there's different ways to come into almost any pose. There's definitely more than one way to come into tree pose. So this is the gentlest, most accessible way to do it. And you're welcome to, as we got to start to play with balancing, maybe on one foot, come over next to the wall for support, or maybe there's a desk or chair or bedpost, something to hold on to. You can keep a hand on whatever that support is the whole time if you like, or play with taking your hand away as you like. Bring both hands or just the one hand to your heart. Set your eyes on something at eye level that won't move, and shift your weight from one leg to the other. Feet planted, rocking in the hips. And when you're ready, bring the weight into your right leg. Let that knee stay soft and bouncy. You don't want to lock the knee up. You want to let it move around like a spring, like a nice shock absorber. Turn your left toes out to the side so your feet are sort of perpendicular. Maybe they're perpendicular, maybe they're just close. Maybe there's more sort of than perpendicular. So right toes pointing forward, left toes pointing to the side. Start to draw your foot in. So to start, you bring the heel up onto the ankle. So the left toes are on the ground, left heel's on right ankle, right knee stays soft. That can be tree pose right there. Maybe you bring the sole of your foot onto your calf. And you can always change your mind. Put the foot down, pick it up. Maybe it's a choice, maybe it just happens, maybe you fall, but it's a controlled fall. Everybody falls. This knee keeps tracking out to the side no matter where the foot is. Over time, sometimes you can get this foot onto this thigh. We don't want to put it on the knee. And don't get too hung up about it being on the thigh. It took me 2 years to get my foot to stay on my thigh. And some days it doesn't want to do it. Your hands can stay here, pressing your hands together and pressing them to your sternum can make the whole thing steadier. Or the branches of your tree can go anywhere you want them to. There are all kinds of trees. So whatever shape works for you, and maybe your tree is more still, or maybe there's a lot of breeze in your branches. If you close your eyes, it gets really windy for most folks. I close my eyes, I'll fall out of the pose instantly. I know from experience. And you make sure you're breathing because all the trees need air regardless of shape. You can always check in with this knee by dropping a hand down here and just seeing, is this out to the side? Sometimes it'll drift forward on its own and then the hip's not opening as much. So we play with strengthening the leg, strengthening the core, and opening the hip all at once. Bring your hands back to your heart if they're elsewhere. Pivot your knee forward and let your foot down. And shake your right leg. Shake anything you want. Maybe the other leg wants to shake. Maybe your arms, maybe your booty, maybe your face. When you're ready, bring your hands back here. Reset your eyes. Reset your feet and your hips by rocking back and forth a few times. When you rock from one leg to the other with your feet planted, your feet will find a way under your hips and generally find your way so your feet are parallel. When you're ready, you can bring the weight into your left leg, let that knee stay soft. Turn the right toes out. And start to draw the right heel in and up onto the left ankle. Maybe you stay there. Maybe the sole of your foot comes up to rest on your leg. And anytime that hand can come over to the wall or whatever piece of furniture is there for you, your hands can stay here or they can go anywhere they want to go. You can explore different expressions. You can explore binds if you like. Holding your arms behind you or doing reverse prayer or clasping your hands behind your head. Check in with your breath. Sometimes in focusing on balancing on one leg, we stop breathing and it doesn't help. Anytime you can drop your foot and pick it up again, starting over as needed. If your hands are elsewhere, bring them back to your heart. Pivot your knee forward and let your foot down and shake things out. And come down and have a seat on the floor. Let's bring the soles of the feet together, far away from the body. So there's a big space between your heels and your pelvis. Now, if there's room to do so, you can slide your hands under your ankles and grab the floor. If there's not room for you to do that, reach over your ankles and grab the floor. Either way is fine. Walk your hands forward and let your head drop down, let your neck disengage. Breathe into the center of your lower back. And slowly walk your hands back in. Press away from the floor to sit up. Now let your arms help your feet and legs. Bring your heels towards your pelvis, keeping the soles together. Get those feet in as close as you can, wherever that is. Interlace your fingers and grab your toes like that. Wriggle on your seat, tilt the pelvis forward. Inhale, lengthen up through the crown of your head. As you exhale, hinge at the hips, fold forward with your spine long. To start, maybe your elbows press to the inside of your legs and nudge your hips open, nudge your legs down. When the long spine isn't lowering anymore, let your head drop. Think of breathing into your hips. Inhaling, slowly sit yourself up. Use your arms to help your legs. Bring your hands here. Push your knees towards each other. Let your feet land. Plant your hands. Slide your feet forward and extend your legs out in front of you. Flex your feet back towards you. Inhale, reach your arms up overhead. Exhale, fold down over your legs. If your knees want to bend, let them bend. Inhaling, think of the crown of your head reaching forward. Exhaling, think of lowering down. Maybe each breath brings you a little lower, brings a little more sensation of release in your lower back. Inhaling, walk your hands up the front of your legs and sit up. Let your arms nudge your legs apart to whatever degree is okay for you. Doesn't matter how far it is. Walk your hands down your legs, keeping your spine long. Wherever your hands go, maybe it's your knees, maybe it's your shins, maybe your ankles, maybe your feet. And slowly move your left hand over by your right hand and take a couple breaths. And slowly open your right arm to the side, turn your head to follow your hand, and rotate your arm. Point your thumb down, bend your elbow, bring the back of your hand towards your left hip, peel your right shoulder back. Extend your arm, undo that rotation, and slide that hand back over by your left hand. Take a couple breaths. Bring your left hand back over to the left leg or left foot. Take a couple breaths. And bring your right hand over by your left. Take a couple breaths there. Sweep your left arm out to the side. Turn your head towards your hand. Rotate your arm. Point your thumb down. Bend your elbow. Bring the back of your hand towards your right hip. And peel your left shoulder back. Extend your arm, point your thumb up, bring your left hand back over by your right, and take a couple breaths. Bring your right hand back over to the right side, take a couple breaths. Walk your hands up the front of your legs and sit yourself up. Use your arms to push your legs towards each other. Bring your hands behind you, plant your feet, scoot your butt towards your heels, come onto your forearms and onto your back. If you have blocks, bring the blocks within reach. Coming down onto your back with your heels as close to your butt as they'll go. And if you want, you could put a block between your knees on the middle position, setting your knees about the same distance apart as your hips. Press into the soles of your feet. Inhale, lift your hips up into bridge pose. If you want, for more heart opening here, you could wiggle your shoulder blades towards each other. Clasp your hands under you and reach your knuckles towards your heels. Hips reaching up, knees drawing forward in the direction of the toes, neck relaxed. If you're clasping your hands, unclasp them. Exhaling slowly, Let your hips come down. How slow can you go? But don't stop breathing. Explore floating up and down in bridge. Inhale, lift your hips. Exhale, lower. To make it more challenging, you can move more slowly or lift higher, or take extra breaths at the top. You can keep exploring floating up and down, or if you like, you can take a supported bridge using a block or using a pillow or two. You can lift up, pause, bring the props under you, and lower down, rest your sacrum on your block or pillow. And just let the block do the work. Think of sending your breath through the block. Or maybe you prefer the floating up and down, exploring the movement, exploring holding at the top. Supported bridge resting on a prop can bring some nice release in your lower back and in your pelvis. Thinking of breathing through the block helps your body to accept the support of the block. Your body is hardwired to feel safe on the ground. And when you put something between part of your body and the ground like this, instinctively, it feels less safe. Your brain knows the block isn't going anywhere, but your body doesn't trust that unusual support. And somehow, thinking of breathing through the block helps that area of the body to relax against the support. And wrapping up bridge, maybe you're still floating up and down. Maybe you've been chilling out on the support. Lift up off your support if you're on that. Move it out of there. Exhaling, slowly come down. After you land this last time, pause for a couple breaths. Let your sacrum reconnect with the ground. And moving any blocks, other props out of the way. Draw your knees towards your chest, hug your knees, rock and roll to massage your back against the ground. And let the soles of your feet down again. Cross your left ankle above your right knee, make a figure 4 shape with your legs. Bring your hands to your right thigh. Draw your right knee towards you. Not a lot of movement here. Maybe your foot doesn't even lift off the floor. Maybe you just lift your heel and press into the ball of your foot. Maybe your foot comes off the floor. Keep your sacrum on the ground. So we're moving the knee towards us, but we're doing this for the hip. So it doesn't matter how much the knee moves actually. And then to give some love to the other hip, bring your left hand to the inside of your left knee. So your right hand is pulling your right knee towards you. Use your left hand to nudge your left knee away from you. Sacrum still on the ground. Legs relaxed. arms nudging the legs. Let your arms relax, let your right foot land flat. Reach your arms out to the sides. Let your legs fall to the right. Turn your head to the left and let your shoulders stay on the floor. And let your breath bring you out. Slowly bring your head and your legs back to center. Uncross your legs, plant your left foot. Cross your right ankle above your left knee. Bring your hands to your left thigh. Keeping your sacrum on the floor, draw your left knee towards you. Take a few breaths. Move your right hand to the inside of your right knee. Nudge your right knee away from you. Let your arms relax. Plant your left foot. Reach your arms to the side again. Let your legs fall to the left and turn your head to the right, keeping your shoulders nicely grounded. Come back up to center. Uncross your legs. Draw your knees towards your chest. Reach your feet towards the ceiling. Reach up to take hold of your legs or your feet wherever you like. Play with bending and straightening your arms and legs. Exploring movement in happy baby pose. Play with inverting as long as you like. When you feel complete, you can make your way to your final resting pose, whether that's the standard corpse pose with your legs extended, feet splayed apart, hands resting at your sides, or some other posture. It's more important to be comfortable than it is to be in this position. Find whatever your comfortable resting pose will be. Any posture where you can just be comfortably still for some minutes of quiet breathing. As you find your comfortable stillness, letting little adjustments happen as needed. Your breath will slow down again, get deeper as it did when we started our practice. Maybe just focusing on your breath. Maybe remembering an intention you set and reflecting upon that. Maybe simply giving your busy mind permission to drift, to wander. Start to find some deeper breaths. Slowly let your body begin moving bit by bit. Allow your movements to gradually get bigger and bigger. Take your time, There's no rush. When you're ready for bigger movements, moving mindfully, gently sit yourself up. Bring your hands up by your heart. Thank you for coming together and sharing practice today. The light within me sees and honors that same light within each of you. Namaste. Again, this is Leo Bray on behalf of Kristen Olson's Urban Yoga Center in Palm Springs. Please visit us online at urbanyoga.org or Kristen Olson's Urban Yoga Center on Facebook to check out our schedule of daily classes and visit the tip jar where you can contribute to our Zoom and YouTube offerings. And feel free to ask questions, leave comments. Feedback is always welcome. Have a wonderful day.